Yay! Now we can make sure all of our shares working. You got the group. Hello, everyone. That's working. We're going this. It's all good. You got the Super Geeks group there, Ross. I will share to Facebook, my end.
I am posting in my Discord.
I am going whoopsie doodles. Okay. Now,
oops, it would help if I included the link.
Yes, it would.
Yes, it would.
You can always edit.
Yes, unlike Twitter.
Yes, fucking Twitter. I understand.
They really need to change that.
I mean, it's so easy just to do an edit button. They add all this other shit, and they can't. Let's see here. Share to newsfeed. Lift mic up out of the way. I got to spend tomorrow and kind of flip my desk around. I'm going to realize whenever I set my desk up this way, I put the part that's supposed to go on the back where you clip stuff on, like microphones and whatnot, in the front. So, ugh. I sound like a firework.
Ooh, let me silence my phone. Or my watch.
Share to Fan Productions.
This off even before the show officially begins. I'm prepared.
Are you sure? Are you prepared?
It's funny because Lad drinks those same things.
Yes, I am.
Let's see. Sharing to you share the Super Geek shit because I can.
You can't share to the Facebook group?
No, I can, but I just want to make sure we're not double sharing.
Okay.
I thought I saw a notice from the Facebook group.
Yeah, that's we had a notice on the show start time, but you have to actually share this actual link. It's weird the way this works now. Facebook's done something to fuck it up.
Of course they have.
It's like the page manager. The page manager and everything else is so disjointed now. It's horrible to do anything. Okay,
it looks good. Liking and sharing.
All right, so share to group, more options. I'm going to share to all things Trek by Trek group. Share to a group, all things Trek.
All right, shared to the group.
Oh yeah, I see us there live.
All right, and share to all things Trek. Sharing to Fan Productions. More options to a group. Star Trek Fan Production.
Right, and sharing to the Twitters. The Twitters. As we just flood the internet with dead air.
Sorry, everybody. The way Facebook makes Sorry, everybody. The way things Facebook does now, we have to share the links out whenever we start, so it takes us a few minutes to get things to go.
New Year's Day show. Even if we didn't go out and get absolutely plastered last night, we're all still kind of sluggish.
I'm definitely sluggish. I want to say I got 2 plastics last night, but more drunk than I would normally have got. Which quite a bit. But yeah, it was much needed. Let's see what we got over here. And we are streaming on Twitch. Facebook groups are shared. Profiles are shared. And the temperatures are dropping. Woof. Let's see if I can turn this light down.
Is sent.
Oops. Let's see, it's a little washed out.
All right, I am all ready.
Alright, I should be good. Let me set my lighting just a little bit. Double checking shares. That looks good. That's good. Cool. Yeah.
Oh
That
my
looks good.
God.
All right, sweet. We're good to
Oh my
go.
God.
Nice.
Jake Paul is actually doing something good.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, 2022, world's going to end. We're
So
done.
here's real quick. Here's what happened with that one. So Jake Paul wants to fight one of the UFC fighters, and so Dana White says, "You can do this when you," because he accused Dana White of using cocaine. He goes, "I will submit the drug testing if you go for PED testing." So Jake Paul comes back with, "When you pay your UFC fighters what they're worth," he goes, "increasing their salary from 12 to 50,000 a year, along with a list of demands." He goes, "Then I'll go ahead and agree to your terms." So
Increase minimum fighter pay per
Yes.
fight to 50K. It's now 12. Guarantee UFC fighters 50% of UFC annual revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Provide long-term health care to all fighters. You previously said brain damage is not part of the gig. Wow. Wow.
I mean, I'm for the healthcare, but brain damage kind of is part of the gig. You get hit in the head.
Joe says to me close.
Yeah, how many
Hi,
how
Joe.
many boxers out there have permanent brain damage? And I don't know about you, but getting slammed into the deck of the octagon does not look like a very pleasant experience.
No.
Especially
not.
the way people's heads bounce.
They bounce.
But no, like he said, the brain damage is part of the sport. You're going to get hurt. That's just like football. It's like, healthcare is great. Don't get me wrong, but it is part of the game.
The caption to that whole post: "The worst person you know just made a great point."
That's about right.
More things change and more things surprise us, I guess. I mean, it is a new year. Who knows what can happen?
It does happen, yeah.
I mean,
He
things can rain.
started his own social network thing, right? Have you heard about that?
No,
Oh, for crying out loud.
It crashed, didn't it? Like it failed.
No, it has not failed. Let me look this up.
I swear, I heard it. I thought it crashed and burned.
No, look, you're thinking about Trump.
They're different people.
Damn it.
Anyway, are you guys ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Born ready.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, I guess since Jason ain't here, we will start this ticker anyways.
We are short a Jason and a son.
That's okay.
Happy New Year!
Happy
Yeah.
New Year.
New Year's.
I'm not going to watch it out of spite if you keep doing this.
You're
You
like
understand that,
me and
right?
Tiger King.
You understand this, correct? You keep it up.
I know.
You keep teasing me. I'm not going to watch
But
it.
it throws you off every single time because you never expect it. That's the fun thing. Just for the reaction, it's
Will
totally
this
worth
be
it.
the year, Ross? Will it?
And welcome to this episode of The Real Super Geeks on this, the 1st of January 2022. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. We made it. We did it.
We
did.
survived 2021.
Here's
2021.
to this year not being 2020 part 3.
And fuck you, 2021. You can burn in fucking hell where you belong.
Yep.
Fuck off.
We got some fun stuff to talk about tonight, but I'd like to lead in with a little programming news because we're deciding to swap things up a little bit for the new year going forward. We're going to try and focus a little bit more going ahead. Fewer topics, but more discussion time. We're only going to talk about a couple things in a night instead of trying to kitchen sink the whole thing. As much as we love doing our 4-hour shows, it does wear on us just a little bit.
Well, we're getting a little old. We can't handle staying up for 4+ hours past midnight to do a show for y'all.
Plus, we love our Florida Man post segment, so we want to do more of that. So expect fewer topics, but more discussion, the occasional fun tangent, and all around just more fun. So
More fun, yes.
welcome to the first show of 2022, and let's roll into it with the introduction of our hosts. I am, of course, Ross, Live, Love, Play, the Eyebrows of Doom himself, back again for another year. Returning as a guest, we got Carlos. He's back. How
Hi,
you doing?
everyone. And
And
ready to go.
And no, contrary to the rumor, he was not imprisoned by Lane.
Well,
No comment.
yeah,
No comment.
with consent.
Oh, so how you doing, Carlos? How was your New Year?
Well, actually, New Year's Day today, I flew home from California with nary a delay, nary a cancellation. It was 2 flights, both completely on time. The San Diego airport was their security line was majorly messed up. Like you didn't even know where it started. So I was literally the last person on my first flight. They were like waiting for me to show up. I got there exactly 10 minutes before takeoff, which is, when they close the cabin doors. So,
Right.
so I was
that guy.
I was that guy, but it wasn't my fault. And also San Diego, it doesn't have a clear lane, which I was amazed because it's a major airport, but it doesn't
Very
have
busy
clear.
airport.
And I was kind of counting on the clear to get me, right through lickety split, and there was none.
Hey, Sean. Happy New Year. Not our Sean, another Sean.
Oh, hello,
Yeah.
other Sean.
Listen, Sean.
He's one of my mods on my Twitch channel. Somebody gave us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So anyway, that's me, and it's 2022. I'm very excited, and let's get the ball rolling.
All righty. And where can people find you if they want to look for you?
I'm on axemonitor.com and the Axemonitor Facebook group.
Outstanding.
Or in the nearest buffet.
I did not get to try a single buffet on this entire
What?
trip.
Oh,
Well,
what a
Omicron.
shame.
Omicron,
Yeah, everybody getting
Okay.
locked down this again. Yeah.
One day, normalcy will return eventually. A form of... Anyway, Greg, how you doing this week? How was your New Year?
Doing good. Was a lame old person. I was like, hey, we're up at 11 o'clock. 11:45, we fell asleep.
I was in bed by 10:30 last night.
I took a nap and stayed up.
But doing good. Looking forward to the show. Hopefully we'll have a fun one.
Yeah, we're
Hope
rested
so
up.
too. And Justin. Oh, and Greg, before we move on, where can people find you if they want to look for you?
If they want to look for me. Twitch.tv's Mongoose Gaming 88.
And what do you stream?
Primarily Pokemon Go. I'm going to be jumping into the world of Jurassic World Evolution and see how that goes.
Very cool.
Oh, and neglected to point out that I got to see Joe Diaz face to face. We had brunch
I'm
on
sorry.
Friday, and he's as mouthy as ever.
Well, yeah, as he's just shoving a biscuit in your face.
He did. He was shoving a
Hey
biscuit in my
guys,
face.
apparently Sun was told there would be no show this week.
Really?
Oh well,
Remember we said
that's
we
There'd be
said
no
originally.
show on Friday.
Yeah.
And there was apparently miscommunication there as well because I was under a completely different impression, but that's not important right now. Another
Anywho,
reason why we're trying to change things up to make things more focused. It's not just
Yeah.
focusing the show, it's also focusing everything else around the show.
yes.
yes.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Justin, how you doing this week?
It's been a good week. It's been a good week. I survived my New Year's Eve intact, relatively, because I was good and stayed home for my date, my friend, with the alcohol included. Yay. It was good. It's been a good week. Pleasantly surprised. Everything worked out.
Outstanding. And where can people find you if they want to look for you?
Well, other than, the usual Facebook hangouts, twitch.tv/_separate.
And what do you play?
I usually stream Star Citizen, and going to be streaming Avorion, which is another building type game like Space Engineers and the like. So, I've been kind of playing it in the background, getting used to it. How everything works before it starts streaming it, so I don't go in fumbling and trying to figure it out while I'm doing it live. So that's been what's been going on this week.
All right. I of course had my New Year. It was we were hightailing it out of the sister's place on New Year's Eve. Got it all cleaned up and did some last minute shopping as well. Got home, put the kid to bed, and assembled his 3-foot tall Paw Patrol playset up until midnight. That thing was a lot more complex than I expected it to be.
Well,
But it was
sounds like
it's Paw Patrol. They don't have opposable thumbs.
Well, it was fun. I got to ring in the new year in a very chill way with the wife, and she promptly went to bed after that. If you're looking for me, if you're watching us on Twitch, you're already in the right place. Twitch.tv/live_love_play. I play turn-based tactics games like XCOM and Phoenix Point, but I also do miniature hobby stuff like this. I'm gonna be very busy this year.
Ooh, you had me at Kill Team.
This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun.
Ooh, Nirvana.
But this is good because I've been going through raw streaming withdrawals, so this is good.
It's
And Sun has arrived.
Woohoo!
Hello, sweeties.
Happy New Year.
So, the gingerbread dragons continue this week.
Oh,
Ooh,
God.
holy shit.
That's
Last week,
Wow.
amazing.
last week was. You should have seen last week's, Carlos. It was a Chinese dragon. There was an Asian dragon. So
Oh,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
little gingerbread scales were individual cookies.
Wow.
Fucking hell.
So is that where you are this week, son?
Yeah, I'm just.
She's
around
dying in
watching-
sugar.
I'm watching the gingerbread get made into dragons.
Nice. Well, how was your New Year, son?
I spent the New Year sick
Ooh,
again. Yeah.
that was my whole prior week. But I was sick from Christmas to New Year's, and now, ooh.
Yeah, I've not streamed in 2 weeks at this point.
Mm.
Well, are you feeling better at least?
I'm starting to, yes, but at this point, yeah, no, we're just gonna have to go to some kind of doctor to figure out what the hell's going on because it's not consistent. Whatever the hell's making me sick.
Well, hopefully they can figure it out pretty quickly.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
New Year, and they'll be able to get it you all worked out.
Yeah.
And of
Which,
course, where can people find you if they're looking for you?
Well, it's right there in my name, twitch.tv/sunseal.
All right, thank you, and thank you all for coming to the show tonight. It's going to be a fun one. So,
I
with our first topic for tonight, Justin, throw up that spoiler warning.
Actually, one thing I'd like to do to start off the show is our tribute for someone who has passed away recently. Betty White, as you know, died right before her 100th birthday, so here you go.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant.
And if you want to ding me for the 20-second thing, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, it's perfectly okay.
It's Betty White, for goodness sake.
Yeah, exactly.
Betty White is not dead. She just went home.
Oh, I saw this great thing on Facebook
Well,
by this
she
woman
kicked 2021 in the balls and told it to go fuck itself up before she left.
Oh no! This one person on Facebook put up this meme, I guess, that said, "I refuse to believe that Betty White is dead, and if she is,
She strangled 2021 by the neck and said,
Yeah,
"If I'm going, you're going with me."
that's the one. If I'm going down, so are
I
you."
saw that too, except it was the final confrontation between Cisco and Ducats.
So here's the one I got. I go, Betty White didn't die. She grabbed 2021 by the throat and said, "I'm taking you with me, you son of a bitch," and threw them both into the fires of Mordor to save us all.
That's the one. She was something.
I think my favorite is the dog meme with death, and says, "Was I a good boy?" And she goes, "Was I a good girl?" And he goes, "No, you were a golden girl," and then takes her to heaven with the other girls.
Oh, the other girls.
All right. Well, thank
And
you,
I
Betty
got
White,
that out of the way
for
because
the many long years of entertainment and the impact you had on so many. You were making the world a better place for old people when most of us were still kids.
Or before we were even thought of.
She holds the Guinness World Record for longest television career at 60 years, 65 years.
Yeah.
I saw something where she was on one of the first televised broadcasts when television was actually still experimental, and they weren't too totally sure where it was going to go.
Took a break to serve in World War II.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Betty. And now it is time to move on to our discussion of the latest episode of Star Trek Discovery. Justin, throw up that spoiler warning.
Shut up.
Wait.
Alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Good, wasn't it?
I'm not going to say nothing.
So, the rest of us know. Carlos and Son, have you seen the episode?
Of Discovery?
Discovery.
Oh, yes, I have.
Yeah, I've seen the latest episode.
All right, just making sure first. Okay, so this episode is a unique one for Discovery, as there is no action, there is no major dramatic moments between ships, and there's no combat, there are no phasers. This was very much...
This was the classic TNG episode for Discovery.
Yes.
This is the Talkie Geek Fest that people have been complaining that they had not been seeing for a very long time. Well, this was it. And it was probably one of the most dramatic episodes we've had in a very long time.
Oh, yes. You definitely got the feels.
Mm-hmm.
It was tense in so many different ways. And we actually had it more focused. Focus seems to be the theme of today, because we had only 2 plots instead of 6.
Thank God.
That being, first off, the invitation to a summit about what to do about the DMA, where we see powers from across the entire galaxy.
All four
apparently.
quadrants, they said.
Yes. Notably, I didn't see any Klingons or Vorta in attendance. But we had Earth in
Yes, we got to see
attendance.
General Ndoye again.
Yeah. So her standoffish approach to the president was very notable.
As was her little backhanded compliment to Michael Burnham.
Yeah.
About United
But
Earth and Titan.
So we had major political drama with Michael at the center of it. But it also Book at one point. But in addition to that, also thank you very much, Chinred, for the Prime sub. I really appreciate that. We also had Dr. Kovac on the Discovery because, at long last, with all of the information that they very dearly bought in the last episode about the origins of the DMA, Zora has determined the location of Species 10C, the people who created the DMA. Except she doesn't want to tell anybody because she's afraid that they're going to rush off and put themselves in danger. So, once again, our dear friend Dr. Kovac has arrived to try and figure out.
He seems to be able to do anything they need.
He is a Renaissance man. And were you here? Did you watch?
He
our
is
show
literally
last week,
Starfleet
Carlos?
intelligence. He has to be. There's
No, I
other
didn't. I
reason.
think it's something bigger than that. Joe and I at breakfast were speculating about.
I think it's a new type of Section 31. If not,
None of that. He is elderly Gary 7.
Ooh. You know, normally I would dismiss that as a George theory,
but it makes sense.
But I like it.
I said it was
But considering the stuff we've gone through in the past few seasons of Discovery,
that's true.
it's
Some of them have been very George.
So, Dr. Kovac arrives to evaluate Zora and to find a way to convince her to give up the information, but also to determine whether or not she should even stay on Discovery. The fact that the computer has become sentient puts her in violation of several Starfleet statutes about fully integrated artificial intelligences. Not artificial intelligence in general, just ones with complete control of the ship.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also that are fully sentient. That's the
well,
rule.
The key thing that he said was fully integrated. They don't have a problem with artificial intelligences on the ship, so long as they aren't fully integrated with the ship.
So no more control such situations or situations like Galaxy Child or whatnot.
The ship still needs to be under control of the crew, and I think that's what was going on there. But Zora is integrated into the ship, and if she was, and anyway, we'll get to that. So, the summit is called. All the major players are there. Earth is there. The Emerald Chain is apparently there. We saw an Orion in attendance, and so many other recognized but unrecognized individuals.
There was Zindi.
There was Zindi?
There was Zindi. There was
I didn't
Zindi.
see that.
Yeah, there was Zindi.
You know what?
Yeah.
I am going to
go look on the. Are you on the Trek Pro art page?
No, I'm going to Reddit to look up the canon reference list.
Somebody had posted like all of the symbols that they could see, and one of them was a fan creation. I'm trying to think what it was. Is it by George Hoagland or something?
Because usually, let's see, archive. Come on, Discovery. Season. Let's see. Hope is you. Short tracks, lower decks. Where is it? Is it not uploaded yet?
It is a holiday week.
I know. Looks like they don't have anything for season 4 yet. That's unfortunate. Okay. Do a quick scroll down. Okay. So we had a lot of people in attendance, and the purpose of the summit was to meet and come to a general consensus about how the DMA should be approached, taking information and ideas from all people, everyone it affects, and that's potentially everyone. Because not only is this thing it is completely unpredictable. They can track it, but they can't predict where it's going to go. And we learned that not Starfleet isn't the only power that is trying to figure it out. Apparently, one organization pumped over 1,000 quantum torpedoes into the thing, and nothing happened.
Who was that again? I forget who that was.
I forget.
They didn't say. They just said.
They didn't say.
They just said you.
He just said you dumped 1,600 quantum torpedoes. You wasted a bunch of latinum. There was that.
Yeah, it was several races.
Not
Yeah.
not just latinum. The we're not talking about like gold pressed latinum, liquefied latinum, raw liquefied latinum. That must be a lot more expensive than gold pressed latinum.
Yeah, no kidding.
So amid all the tumult, we have our good friend, or I forget his name, the Ryzian scientist.
Tarka?
Yeah,
Tarka. Our good friend Tarka in the middle of everything. He has an interesting quote talking about politicians, bags of hot air, but they are a means to an end. He, amid all of the speculation and discussion, he arrives with a solution. Dropping an isolytic bomb in the middle of the DMA. A subspace weapon that would sever the DMA itself from its power source.
An isolytic
effectively ending it.
What?
But those of us who have seen Insurrection know the kind of damage a isolytic device can create, making everything that uses subspace useless. So that's warp, that's communication, that's a lot of very useful things.
Yes, as they pointed out, it was one of the major points of the second Kittimer Accords.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
Klingons aren't very fond of it. It's bad.
I mean, isolating weapons, that almost seems like, they call back an interaction, but they found a way to close it with a warp core.
Yeah, but you need a warp core.
And then if you use the warp core and it seals it, you're screwed.
Yeah, you really can't.
Not if you have a spore drive.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So, meanwhile, Dr. Kovach, Paul, and Hugh are discussing Zora and what to do. Kovach takes a very open approach, making sure that Zora is aware and present of all of the discussion taking place. Even though Stamets is a little uncertain at first, like putting music over their discussion is going to hide anything. I mean, come on, Paul. Be better, man. You know better. But in the middle of the discussion, both Gray and damn it, I'm brain farting again. Help.
Adira
arrive to advocate for Zora. I saw a little complaining about this, but I thought it worked because of what Gray did for Zora in the past. And where Gray goes,
that was a major thing. Zora trusts Gray.
And I really got to say, this exchange surprised me. It wasn't what I expected. What about you guys?
You mean the whole meeting? What they covered? I thought it was one of the best examples of Star Trek, like really exploring a topic from different perspectives. And the way that it ended was kind of a twist.
Yeah.
Where COVID said,
which we'll get to.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the point being that you were genuinely watching it and wondering, how are they going to work this out?
Especially when Zora throws in that twist with, I understand your fear about me, and I recall what happened with Control. Here is a failsafe you can use if you ever get truly worried about my actions, so that if I step out of line, you can kill me.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of extreme. But they don't just leave it at that either. They continue the discussion of whether or not having a failsafe like that is ethical, if it's right.
Yeah, because as an emerging life form, not just artificial intelligence, but an actual life form, it would completely, contradict Starfleet and Federation principles.
Right.
Laws.
We go back to the summits where the options are being weighed. Michael is advocating for a and a peaceful approach to Species 10C to determine their intent, to figure out what they're doing and why, what is the purpose of the DMA, why they sent it, and to find a way to get them to stop this thing before it can do any more damage. Michael speaks to this effect before the gathered
Quadrants.
itself to advocate for a peaceful and logical approach. This runs counter to Book, who sees the DMA as the ultimate threat. It needs to be eliminated and ended as quickly and as efficiently as possible before another Quajon can happen. And that is the decision, whether or not the combined body is to make the most expedient action, the most effective action, or to hope for understanding, for peace, for an even-handed response, because the quickest solution is the most risky, not only to the area of space, but because of the unknown nature, it could backfire and cause unknown
Destruction.
consequences at its origin.
So here's where Justin's theory actually comes into play, or his original theory, the unmitigated damage to the mycelial network that could be caused.
Because the mycelial network is
And
a
not to mention-
realm.
And not to mention warp travel. So, I mean, that would make any type of interspace travel.
Well, isolatic weapons specifically, rupture only
Localized space time.
Yeah. So,
But
I'm
we're
not
talking
sure-
about
I'm
about
not sure if the
something-
mycelial thing necessarily falls into that, but
Well-
it might. It might.
It did, if it did, because the DMA was interacting with the mycelial network, and so which they had not anticipated when they jumped in. So
They couldn't
if
jump inside the void because the void was cut off from the mycelial realm.
right,
Right.
so if something like that type of weapon with that, it could really spread out and amplify to a much wider range. So who knows how far the damage could spread?
The discussion continues around Zora, with the ethics of having a failsafe being further discussed. Paul it seems to be the central point of this discussion and the linchpin.
Mhm.
Kovacs, although listening to those around him, listening to Paul, to Hugh, and to Saru, who is also in attendance, as well as Adira and Gray, seems to be making up his own mind, but is encouraging them to speak as well. Eventually, and although they don't outright reject the failsafe, they are very concerned about what it represents and the ethics behind using it. However, as the discussion evolves, they are able to convince Zora that the crew, whatever actions the crew will take, though risky, is always thoughtful and very rarely impulsive and needlessly dangerous. And she eventually relents and gives the coordinates of Species 10C. But
You're skipping a really important part, though, which is how they convinced her in a way that wasn't just persuasion, but she actually is now a member of the crew. She's a member of Starfleet.
That comes after.
I thought they did that before.
They did that before.
Wait, did what?
She gave them the coordinates, but that's when they came back as Kovacs was making his final deliberation.
Yeah, they did that.
But the realization of what Zora takes place during that. Yes, you are correct. As when they realized that Zora had set her own main primary program parameters, she said that her primary job was to care for the crew of the Discovery. And when they asked her who set that directive, she said she was.
Yeah.
So that's when they did a deep dive into her core to figure out where this ability to set her own her own primary function came from. And that is where they discover the natural development of a subconscious.
Yep.
The memory of the entire crew built up from their logs, from their experiences, from
Everything.
from their mission briefings, the entirety of what Discovery was, its crew, from the very beginning to the present.
Not to mention the spear data on top of it.
In
So-
addition to the spear data, which had jump-started this process,
I'd also like to point out that this is one of those rare times where it's a kind of a callback to TOS, because not only is she doing all the logs and the reports and all that kind of stuff, she's also got all the onboard recordings of the people on the ship.
TNG as well, when the Enterprise briefly became
Sentient.
Mama.
Yep. On the
But-
Orient Express.
Yeah. So this has all shaped Zora in a very unique way, to the point where Kovac says that everyone in attendance says this isn't AI, this isn't artificial intelligence, this is a new form of synthetic life, and therefore the provisions on artificial intelligence do not apply. Zora is her own being. She is unique, and therefore she is protected. And so, with this in mind, Zora gives the coordinates. But it's not the end of the discussion, as Paul comes back briefly as Kovac is making his final recommendations, and makes the determination that Zora, as a new form of life, is not applicable to those restrictions, and should stay on the Discovery, as the Discovery is her form, is her body, and she is just as much attached to it as any of us are to our own.
Yep.
And so Paul makes a recommendation that Zora become a member of Starfleet, become a member of the crew as a specialist, as what Michael was when she was brought on board Discovery as what was her status? A prisoner?
She was a convict.
Yeah.
Who became a specialist.
Yeah, not a commissioned officer per se,
A
but
non-com.
member of the crew. I guess I suppose you could call it an enlisted rank. She's an enlisted member of the crew. The ship is an enlisted member of the crew.
Shanghai, probably. The thing that I thought was really important that Stamets pointed out was that in becoming a member of Starfleet, she would, and freely of her own will, she was now subject to chain of command.
Yes.
Which means that she would have to do what the captain says, which was an important point. And it's I loved the way that they intercut between the Michael's speech at the summit and was it Stamets?
Yeah.
Was talking? Yeah, Stamets was talking on the Discovery, and in a way you could say it was kind of on the nose, but it was in a really grand way. And one of the things that I loved about this episode was I love episodes that really explore what Starfleet means, that really explores what the Federation means, that really explores what exploration means, which are, they're philosophical topics and political ones, but it totally worked, largely because it had the very personal stories of Book and Michael and Tarka interweaved. We found out some interesting information about Tarka,
which we'll get to in a moment.
Which we'll get to, and so those personal stories added a layer of drama to this, so that it wasn't just a sort of a dry diplomatic summit, but there was some real urgency, and in deciding, in Michael, Book goes up and he basically gets everyone to agree we're going to attack. He appeals to their emotions.
That's the next part.
So, go ahead and introduce us to that, and we can dive in.
So, after Michael and Book make their pleas, Book for expedient action despite the risk, and Michael for even-handed action with the hope of understanding and peaceful resolution, the delegates all vote in a very simple and elegant way. Simply raise your hand. Those who raise your hands are for, those who do not are against. And the camera very slowly pans around to most of the people in attendance, and we see hands either quickly going up or slowly going up as time passes, and it's very interesting to see who votes no. Earth being one of them, which
Well,
is
technically, they were voting yes for
No,
attacking.
the general, they voted for attacking.
Yeah,
That's what
so
confused me about this whole vote fucking thing, is that there was no clear visual about what was going on, because the little thing that the little denotions for raising your hand or not was for action, against action.
Right.
It made that whole voting thing confusing as hell. It's like,
Basically,
And then all the
it was
Wouldn't-
raise your hand for diplomacy. It was keep your hand down for the attack.
right. I had to
So
go
that was
back.
pretty easy to
I had to go back to get that, because just the
Because they
them
were
taking-
voting in the negative.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So that's that was
Because
that
typically
was a
when you
little-
do something like this with different action plans, you have different votes.
I suppose they did it this way for expediency, but it was
that's
still
totally why.
pretty dramatic, I thought.
And they also did it to show some great visuals. We got to see all the little insignia or logos for each of the planets. I was reading an interview with one of the production designers who said that that they actually went back and found a lot of the original stuff that was designed like by Mike Okuda and others, and updated them. Like if you look at the Ferengi one, it's essentially the same, but a little more streamlined, and same with the Cardassians and so forth. So it was kind of cool to see
Did you
familiar
see that
races
lady
as well as new
Cardassian?
ones.
Holy
Yep.
shit!
yes, just badass. Did you see the Cindy?
I missed the Zindi. Which
insectoid.
form was it?
There was-
the
it
was
right, the
the mammal.
insectoids.
There's an insectoid and a mammal
Primate.
primate. Yeah.
Yeah, there's several. But I thought it was really interesting to see the fact that Earth voted for action was interesting, although not entirely unexpected. But it did a lot of different things. I mean, it accentuated the standoffish nature that they have towards the Federation, and it really highlights, though they clearly made progress from militant isolationism since Discovery visited, they're still kind of there.
Yeah, they're still militaristic.
Yeah,
They
They're-
didn't send a diplomat; they sent a general. So that says a lot. But I think I'm so glad that they brought her back, because she gave a really great performance back in that episode, and and holds out hope for Earth coming back and what that might mean, because it was such a core part of what the Federation is all about.
Right.
And, so it'll be interesting to see how that falls out moving forward.
So with the vote comes in favor of Burnham's plan.
It was a little
to-
tense too, because
very tense. Because
because
it's very clear as the discussion is taking place and during Michael's comments that there is a rift being torn open between her and Book over this. There is no reconciliation. That them standing on these positions is going to drive them apart.
yeah.
And it is heartbreaking.
And she
to
almost
see.
didn't do it. Remember,
Mhm.
she hesitated.
Yeah.
We should talk a little bit about her evolving relationship with President Rillick,
hmm
who's now relied on her at least 2 times.
And I
To-
gotta say,
Yeah, go ahead.
in your eye, for all of you guys who are saying Rillick is going to be the villain,
There's still hope. There's still a lot.
There's still there's still hope for her Kaiwan side to come out.
I didn't say that she was
knock
going to be a
that
villain this
off,
season.
Justin.
Yeah, Sun's looking long term. Sun's playing the long game.
The
I mean,
DMA
there's
is
still
the
plenty of
most-
time.
The DMA is the most immediate and obvious threat / villain / antagonist / what the hell ever, and the alien species. But there are
Which-
actions that Rillick takes, even in this episode, that make you go,
Yeah, you know, I thought it was really interesting that she has always struck me as being sort of very kind of a control freak, you know.
Yeah.
And for her to actually step back and play the role of you know, not
Neutral arbiter.
yeah, neutral arbiter. Thank you. That's exactly what I was
Yeah,
looking for. Was I think a really important point, and showed off how much she really has come to rely on Michael Burnham, because she
Because she knows
represents.
Burnham will do it.
Yeah, she will. She's
do it well.
she's always up for a speech, you know.
The Federation called this summit, and she has a role to fill as the host of that summit and as the arbiter of it. But I think she's correct in saying that in that role she cannot take a side; she has to arbitrate it. So it falls to Burnham to be the voice of Starfleet, of the Federation, which is a very big role.
And I thought it was cool that
No, Leah.
the
no.
delegates from Nivar, yeah, delegates from Nivar, finally sort of acknowledged that, you know, Burnham is pretty good at this logic thing.
Also interesting that we had two separate delegates from Navarre.
A Romulan and Vulcan, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, they
Well, you
had
had the two sending. Several of the delegations had
multiple people.
Multiple people.
Yeah. If you look at the graphic that shows all of the votes, green and red, you'll see that a number of them are.
Look, there's a Navarre
have-
one and a Vulcan one, if you notice.
Really? I didn't see.
Navarre, not Navarre, a Vulcan, and I think the Navarre and the Romulan. I could have swore I saw a Romulan one in there somewhere. Because maybe not all Romulans are on Navarre.
Well, see, that's the thing you got to
Oh,
remember.
maybe.
The Navarre insignia that they both wear is reminiscent of the
Romulan
bird.
symbol.
Yeah,
Yeah, but there's two of them.
It's got the raptor, but it's also got the Idic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
combination of the Idic and the Raptor,
Mhm.
which is really interesting to me.
Is
And I
it-
think
is
it's
it
like
because-
if they ever make that pin, hello friends at Fansets, make
Yes.
that pin. I would
Please,
buy that like that.
please, and we'll gladly promote it on the show.
You know, I
in
went to
care
high
of Super Geeks.
school- I went to high school with the guy who's the head of Fansets.
Well, Carlos, get it cracking. Get the connections.
I'll give him a call. But I love Fansets, and we had
I
our
do.
40th
And-
high school reunion this summer, so I got to see
Oddly
him.
enough, not only is that a beautiful thing to have for Navarre itself for Discovery, it's also kind of a beautiful tribute to Leonard Nimoy as well, who worked on Romulus underground to reunify the
Mhm.
Vulcans and Romulans. So yeah,
Most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was one of those instances that it was one of those Star Trek episodes that was about the grand sweep of what the Federation means, and I loved it. I just, yeah. In fact, I didn't even think about there not being any action because I was just so like in the thick of it with both ethical arguments that were going
this
on.
is what a good TNG episode does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we also get
And
some of the ulterior motives as Tarka, in appealing to Book to speak to the summit, reveals why he is so interested in the DMA and why he's pursuing it so intently. He was once a prisoner of the Emerald Chain, and while he was there working on alternatives to warp drive, he made a friend. And they had talked about how they would escape and where they would go. And they calculated what they would need to get there. They had found an alternate universe with no burn, no Emerald Chain, a place where they could be themselves. And they calculated exactly how much power they needed to get there. And that power, conveniently, can be found in the power source of the DMA. And now we know why he's doing what he's doing.
Right. Including the very cool, I love the effect they had for the new generation Spore drive, which
Yes.
integrated with books control systems, and I just
Which-
love the way they kind of like
In the
melded
wake
together.
of the decision against Tarka's plan, he steals the second generation Spore drive, a device about this big. I suppose I should be surprised.
Well, Buck even mocked it. He's like,
Considering how far computers have come in about 80 years,
Mhm.
that a Spore drive can go from, half the size of Discovery to that. But it melts into Book's ship, and they take off to go through with his plan anyway.
And I love the
leaving-
clue that makes Burnham realize this is happening. And
Yeah, he
and
leaves
when I
Greg
saw
behind.
it, I was like, "Uh-oh, he's gonna
And,
do it. He's gonna do it." He gave her grudge.
Yep.
yep. And here's the thing. Greg had Leah convinced that Grudge was going to die in this episode. So Leah, if you want to come smack Greg in the back of the head right about now, that's perfectly acceptable.
Every time they showed a picture, a scene, a book, I was like, poor Grudge, the poor queen, and she's like, shut up.
I want to hear what Mr. Meanie Pants Greg thought of this episode.
Hold on.
Oh, she's going to do it.
Oh, thank you, Leah.
Yay.
I'm like, what is he looking at? Now we know.
The more you know.
So, like everybody, I saw Star Trek Discovery, Measure of a Man.
Oh.
Okay, I'm sorry. I saw 2001 Space Odyssey Discovery. Sorry, Hal. So, overall, I liked the episode. As far as like nitpicks, few and far between. My only nitpick was just Adira and Gray busting in on the meeting unannounced. Other than that, it was good.
Are we sure they busted in?
Well,
they
they
just
did,
sort of showed up, but I thought they were asked there.
No, they weren't. They weren't asked there, and they just showed up. So that's why they just walked in the door. That's like there's no door chime. They just walk on in. And that's why even Kovic is like, what? Granted, he
I'll
left.
have to go back and look at that because the way I saw it, it just they cut to a new scene and there they were, and I did notice that. It's like why are they
just walking in?
But I didn't see them walk in. I'll go back and take a look at that.
I love seeing the summit and then just saying all the representatives for all four major quadrants are here. I'm like, cool, got everybody there. Only recognized maybe 5 species. I'm like, okay, so there's a lot of species we don't know.
I wonder if any Borg were there.
Probably not.
I didn't see any Borg icons in the
or Borg icons. I have one legitimate nitpick. She goes, raise your right hand for those of you who vote in favor of diplomacy. The president of Navarre raises her left hand. And she does this with her left hand. I'm like, dude, that's your left hand. The dynamic was really well done. Like, the dynamic was really well done. Like Sun said, this was the atypical good Next Generation episode. Philosophical, non-action, and of all points, two stories in this episode. There wasn't 6 sub-stories in this episode. It was 2 points being made. It was what's going to happen with Zora, what's going to happen with what we do with the anomaly.
I would say that the C plot though was Book and Tarka. I mean, I think there was 3.
Yeah, I mean,
to have 3 plots.
Yeah, and I think I agree with all y'all with this one because, like, when you get multiple plots, it becomes fucking confusing trying to keep up with all of them on an episode. So 3 is good.
General Ndoye from the very beginning is just confrontational with Grillick, of course, because Earth is still at odds with the Federation. But you can see instantly she's more cordial with Burnham. So there's that rapport. But immediately the second Rillick starts speaking about diplomacy, Rillick's like, sorry, not Rillick. And Ndoye's like, we have to attack it. And I was like, okay, slow your roll. we know you hate it. This is that argument. You see both sides and understand them. I understand why Ndoye and all of them want to attack it, and I understand why they want to be diplomatic about it because people think they're being attacked, and everybody else is like, well, maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know what they're doing is hurting people. I'm gonna stand on the side of diplomacy, so I agree with Burnham and real like that. This needs to be handled diplomatically. Um,
Variant.
with Tarka coming in and saying that, oh, I'm from a universe and this other universe, and Book is like the mirror universe. He goes, you act like there's only two.
Yeah.
It's like, and there we go. So TNG was like with parallels, TOS, and I was like, hey, now we officially have the multiverse is real.
Well, it's technically real from TNT.
Well,
but,
and the thing is, they mention it, so
Mhm.
we're gonna see it, folks.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
which
yeah.
I think it's going to come. I think it's going to come with the plot there towards the end, and something's going to happen because of the
willing-
Outer Lake rupture.
I'm willing to bet the anomaly is either from Tarka's universe, or it genuinely is in this universe from outside the galaxy, and he needs it. I still think he has some ulterior motive. I don't think he needs that power source. I think he wants it either as a weapon or to take it back.
Wait, What
Say-
Oh.
say it
two
again, Greg,
choices there,
'cause-
Greg?
I'm thinking that Tarka either is there to take it back to his universe because that's where it's from. Even though
Not
he
back to. He's not from there.
He wants to go there though.
He wants to go there.
Well, he said my home is very far away.
Well, yeah, but he said it's a chosen home.
But
No.
I'm thinking that this is from where he is in that universe and he needs to take it back. Like, hey, we messed up. This shouldn't be here. Or he wants this for something other than a way back home where he's going to use it as a weapon. I think he still has some ulterior motive.
Oh, definitely.
What if because of Tarka's actions and trying to connect to this universe, it's a reason why the DMA is here.
Yeah,
It's
he could have drawn
the DMA. They drew the DMA there from the other universe because remember during part of the scanning for the coordinates, they were coming up with locations all around. They were going galaxy.
Yeah, but they came through the galactic barriers. That doesn't sound to me like someone coming from another universe. That's someone
Right.
coming from in our universe
right, and
through the galactic barrier.
And they confirmed it's from outside of our galaxy. So I can accept that, but it's like at the same time, like Carlos is agreeing that he has a ulterior motive. There's something wrong there. And Tarka is playing like at first. Book was okay with Burnham being against him. He's like, okay, I understand why you're for the plumps. They were fine until Tarka talked to him again, and he's playing on Book's anger. How he said it's very productive emotion, and what happens? He gets Book to use the ship, and there they go.
Anger is a very productive
Mhm.
emotion.
So, and of course, leaving Grudge behind. It's like you can't leave the queen. What the heck?
Because
So-
he doesn't expect to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my thing with Zora, as I love the whole thing with Zora, I very much at the very beginning got, okay, she's gonna turn into Hal. It's like because she literally says, "I'm sorry, I can't do that." The only thing missing was that Saru's name is not Dave. So, but going and progressing, that yes, Adira being having one of the smartest decisions to go back, like, hey, I thought this was just random. This was supposed to be there, and then come to find, like, oh, this is new. That she is a life form. So then, what is Starfleet's mission? To seek out new life, and there it is. So I am in full agreement with Kovic's decision to grant her that hey, your life. You are not an integrated AI. You are.
And
a
don't
life
forget the
form.
twist where he tells us he was not just evaluating Zora, he was
evaluating
evaluating
it.
the crew and specifically Stamets. And his decision, which he had made before Stamets, made all his big speeches, was to transfer Stamets off the ship.
I was getting there, Carlos.
Oh, I didn't know you were going there.
Since Carlos took that away from me, Stamets played a very good Hugh. Stamets was the counselor.
Well, he also admitted as much because he lives with a counselor.
So Stamets was very much the counselor. He handled it beautifully, and you could see when Kovic told him, "Oh, I was going to transfer you," Paul didn't flinch. He's like, "I understand that."
Yeah.
He didn't flinch. So Azora is now a part of Starfleet, and not only does she have to follow orders, she's also granted the protections of sentient life under the Federation Charter.
Mhm.
So Zora is a protected life form, and now she knows, okay, you have to follow Burnham's orders, but hey, guess what? You're your own life form now. And I did like the quip at the end. What about the failsafe? Well, it wouldn't be much of a failsafe if I could destroy it.
Right.
So for breaking in, I was like, okay, great. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I like the episode. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. For this is probably, I would say, I think this will probably be the best episode so far. I was gonna say I think episode 4, but I think this will probably be the best episode so far. There was a very, very good mid-season finale. So looking
Yeah, it
forward to
totally works as a mid-season finale.
Yeah.
And-
Gray, it'll be interesting. Adira is obviously back, but Gray is, I'm going to say, gone either for the majority of the season or the rest of the season since he left with Trill. Adira is like, oh, I'm going to take a week's vacation. So she's in the next preview, but we know Gray is probably gone, but not for sure.
Trill's gonna play some sort of role because look at how many Trill we saw at that summit.
Oh, yeah.
There was,
Ooh.
and there
in
was
addition,
a lot of shots
we've
of
got-
that Trill ambassador.
We've gotten
You know, they're
some
throwing
images-
subtle hints again.
We've gotten some preview images for the next chapter of the
Mhm.
season, and Nan's coming back.
Yes,
Yep.
we got to see Nan.
Oh, that's
I was
right.
very happy about that. I think
And-
we knew
and
we
Tilly.
would see her again. Oh, I didn't see Tilly in
Wait,
that.
Tilly?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's Tilly. There's she's at Starfleet Command.
Yep.
And the,
And speaking of Trill, I've actually got a list of all of the people.
Can I do my thing first before
on.
we start going off on a tangent here?
Okay.
Uh,
Because we're kind of getting off kilter here. We need to keep going. We're already like at an hour. We can
Well,
do whatever.
Go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
Yeah. All right. So far, this was a fine episode. Best callback to TNG type storytelling I have seen in a while from this cast. Everything moves really, really quick. Sometimes it feels like it drags a little bit in Discovery episodes. It was nice to see that this was not the case this time. It just flowed from one scene to the next. You were able to keep up. It wasn't all over the place. It was very focused and very well done. It was great with the Stamets speeches and the way they kind of coincide with that and Brim's. I'm glad they didn't focus on 2 months. They just kind of hop back and forth. That was good. I'm very happy they didn't do anything to Zora, so this is kind of, she is the ship now, basically. So that was pretty cool to see. I'm not surprised by Tarka and Book's reaction. Kind of seeing a little bit of a bromance form, like an unofficial bromance forming throughout the last couple of episodes, and it kind of came to a head with them stealing the subspace device.
Well, don't confuse friendly with friendship.
I was about to say.
Well,
Yes, that's what he said.
romance.
It's not
Bromance.
romance. That's straight up manipulation.
Yeah.
Well,
he was
either, yeah.
Yeah. He was.
And I think that I am in agreement with the rest of you. I think Tarka has a larger alternate plan here, and he's not telling Book everything. Yeah, I think Book's just trying to see what's going on. So Book may not be completely falling for it either. So we'll see. I think Book's only going along with it because he wants to see if he can go back to Quayshawn again.
This brings up an important question because this is the mid-season,
Yes.
but I'd always heard that this was only going to be a 10-episode season, meaning it would only be 3.
Did we? Yeah.
More episodes.
I never heard an official episode count.
They've never given an official episode count.
And there's still not another season that's been greenlighted. So far, season 5 has not been
yeah, I
greenlit.
mean, that's a different thing. So there's people. A lot of people are assuming 13. It's closer to what we've seen before in other seasons, but I thought I had read it was 10, and so I'm interested in seeing how this turns out because if there's only 3 episodes as opposed to 5 episodes, that's
Maybe the last half is longer episodes.
6 episodes. 6 episodes.
Maybe the last half is going to be longer episodes than normal to make up the gap. They've done it before on a few of them.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me before. The opener for Discovery is a 1 and 2 parter that's smushed together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
the
when
order
they,
they finish it
but
up.
when they syndicate it or put it up for streaming, it's 2 episodes, even though
Yeah.
they aired back to back or premiered back to back. Anyway, I'm just interested in seeing how that's going to turn out because I had always heard, I forget where, I think IMDb said only 10 episodes. And
Well, IMDb's not always.
no, they're not. They're not. But,
Not lately,
generally,
even.
But
generally
let's
they're-
hear what
right.
Sun has to say about the episode.
I took notes again this week.
Yay.
All right.
But before I get to my notes, I have to ask you, Carlos, because you've not been here. Are you leaning towards my theory about it seeking telepathic or empathic consciousness?
The DMA?
Because when we jump into the DMA subspace, when they jump into the DMA subspace, that's when Booker starts having the hallucinations of his father.
Yeah, the very real hallucinations about his father. There's definitely something going on there, and I think that somehow Book is
Connected.
making some kind of empathic contact with it without knowing that he is. So I think there's definitely that kind of, there's something around that's going on. I think we had established early on, I think we all agreed that it was, that there was a sentient, life form or something that was behind the DMA because it was making choices, unpredictable ones, but still choices. And, so
that and the power source.
yeah, and we don't know where these coordinates are. So, until we do, like, are they on the other side of the galactic barrier?
Kelvins.
I also made this argument in another previous episode. When the Quat Malat lady goes crazy to save that other race.
Javini.
That was a telepathic race, and the DMA was on the edge of approaching that system.
But
it wasn't. And what she describes as that guy reaching out with like a massive amount of like psychic or telepathic power, enough that she's just traveling through the system at warp and hears it. It's like, well, how much more sensitive do you think the DMA is to that stuff?
Well, here's a similar question. Was there anyone really telepathic that could have reached out to the DMA on the Emerald Chain colony that got wiped out?
We don't know.
At the same level as the sleeping species?
We honestly don't know.
We don't know. You know, something that just occurred to me since we're talking about telepathic here. What if this is another caretaker-like species coming into the galaxy?
Well, it doesn't sound like they're taking much care of anything.
Yeah.
Well,
See,
remember what we're...
that was the issue with the caretaker in the first place. They came into the galaxy and it caused issues, and so the caretaker and his mate dedicated their lives to the Accompans because they ruined the Accompans' lives.
Right. But that that bespeaks some kind of ethical code that they adhere to, and
Right.
we're not seeing that here.
Well, we
Until-
don't
plus-
even know if they realize.
Well, and that's just it. We don't know anything at all
Yeah.
except its impact.
Well,
and
we
if
do know,
they...
we do know, even though they didn't name, they named a lot of Easter egg races like the Q, like the Metrons and others. My guess is that they ruled out everything that they've come across, including the caretakers. Like I really believe this is going to be something brand new, not a callback to anything.
I imagine the same thing.
Although, if I were going to do a callback, I've been thinking a lot about this. I think, Jason, I think this was your theory that it was. Thank you. Sorry, Justin, your theory about V'ger. Remember that?
Mhm.
Way back in the beginning of the season, you were speculating about it being V'ger and how the core of the DMA looked just like the core of V'ger, which is true, and
It would make sense that Zora would be afraid of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that would make sense if it were. I don't think it's going to be, but you can make a pretty good argument, I think.
Ooh, God, that hurts.
All right. Any
Carlos
other
agrees.
thoughts?
So notes then. Okay. My first note is, where the hell is Vance? He's literally the leader of Starfleet. He is their chief representative, and the only person there is Burnham, who's not been promoted to any sort of diplomatic anything by Rillick to speak for Starfleet.
That's at really
Well-
discretion. She can choose an ensign if she really wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Burnham has the diplomatic ability that they have both. As Vance says he does not want. So
Not to mention the only Starfleet captain that we know about with extensive experience investigating the DMA.
She's also playing a critical role in possible conflict of interest in being a go-between between the Federation and Navarre.
kind of.
She's a citizen of both, though. She's a Federation citizen and a Navarre citizen, so that's not really.
Yeah. That's I mean, in most instances, it's kind of a conflict of interest.
Well, it's not if you're a member of Starfleet. If you join Starfleet, you renounce those. So, and I think what they were really looking for were ideas coming from, potential allies. And so the nuances, the internal diplomatic nuances inside each of the powers that was there, I don't think was that important. I think they brought who they believe would be the right people to consider and or speak. And I think in this case, Vance admits that he doesn't see things big picture outside Starfleet really, and just keeping the Federation together.
Yeah.
And he's admitted that, that Burnham sees more broadly than that. And I think Rillick understands that. And I think that's why she asked her to be there and to speak to that.
Well, I mean, I can understand that. I was like, Vance should be here. He is the head of Starfleet, period. I mean, it's okay if he's voting with Earth and Titan to go attack the thing, but he's still the leader of Starfleet. He should be here at this assembly.
Well, I think from a practical standpoint, they can only afford so many actors in an episode, and this one had a lot of them. So that's probably why you didn't see him.
So, did I miss them naming the aliens 10C at some point? Or was that just a thing that happened off
That
screen?
was-
Last episode.
That was last episode.
Okay. I missed that entirely.
Yeah, it was the same. It was in the same scene that Vance was talking about how many of the other, super species like the Metrons and Q and so forth.
That's
It was
right.
in that scene.
Okay. And here's what we talked about a while ago, Carlos. Rillick really wants everyone under her control. Didn't that feel off to anyone when she starts talking about getting Earth back into the Federation?
What president doesn't
I mean,
want everyone under their control?
She passed it off as my mother is part Earth and never got to see Earth again, and yeah, that's a politician being a politician. But she's like, the way it came off in the beginning before the explanation was like, I really want everyone back in the Federation.
Well,
Well,
Doesn't that make sense though?
Yeah,
I mean, that's what they're trying to do.
Earth was not only a founding member; Earth was the planet that
It was the
brought
glue.
everyone together to form the Federation.
Mhm.
I mean,
it was the glue.
I don't know. Something just feels off about that. She's been looking through like all of these files when she's involved in a situation.
Most politicians. She's
It's
a leader.
not just a politician thing. It's a skill that anyone who deals with people, who leads people, who influences people would do. If you want to influence someone, you need to know something about them.
It's a very manipulative tactic. Yes.
It's
It's
has
a
a
common sense.
manipulative job.
Yeah,
As
you
you
have
pointed
to.
out in a previous episode, according to Vance's analogy, it's her job.
To know everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. She's supposed to. She's the conductor of the orchestra, and she's playing everyone.
Yeah.
That's honestly how I feel about this.
Well, I'm not sure I would go that far, but I do share a continuing suspicion about her. Like there's still more, because if you remember back when she faked that story with someone in order to create like more of an
With the
emotional
commander of
bond
the
with them.
station.
Yeah. And Burnham called her out on it. Like
Mhm.
that's her. I mean, that's the kind of thing that she does. And I feel like we're going to see something else like that before it's all over. But that said, I do like the fact that she hasn't become like, Burnham's
Mustache twirly
Yeah.
Ducat.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zora sentient. Okay, cool. I agree with you, Greg. Gray and Adira busting in and claiming to speak for Zora, ignoring the fact that Zora can literally speak for herself, was weird. And the whole case of it was argued.
Oh, or they were there to speak on his behalf. They are advocating for Zora.
Yeah.
They're not speaking for Zora. It's okay to have an advocate.
Yeah, Data had an advocate. And until they certified her as a life form as opposed to a rogue AI, she didn't have the standing.
No, I completely understand I understand having an advocate, but in the current climate of our culture and Gray and Adira's actors outside of Discovery.
Okay, well, hold on. No, we're not talking about outside Discovery. We're talking about the show. That is a review about the show. Let's leave all the current political aspects about it so you stick on topic, please.
It felt like I'm going to speak for you. And that's something I've experienced before, and I hate it when someone else thinks they can speak for me. And that's what that felt like to me.
No, I understand that. I understand that.
The other thing was I actually kind of find myself agreeing with Stamets in this whole argument.
Oh, God.
Mostly because, like, I can understand Colbert, like, arguing from a therapy kind of standpoint of what is and what can be and all that kind of stuff. And you have Gray and Adira going, just because, I'm a thing that exists, like, do you hate me? It's like, no, nobody's talking about hating anybody. Stamets is like legitimately concerned that Zora could sneeze and airlock an entire fucking deck.
Now, honestly, I'm still with Stamets' hesitation. I really am. But Stamets is also like, I'm hesitant. I'm worried about tomorrow. And he's like she said, she trusts them. He's going to trust Zora. So
right, yeah. I just thought I agree with you for the most part, Greg. This whole argument thing in the beginning was weird. I also agree that them busting in. It's like I half expected what's his name,
Kovic.
Kovic. Yeah.
Kovic or Gary 7.
I literally half expected him to go, get the hell out of here. Just that monotone, get the hell out of here. Because they just like bust in and start arguing on Zora's behalf. It's like,
well, if someone was going to do that, it should have been Saru.
Saru would have done it beautifully. He was ready to defend Zora. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, that was the big thing. I expected Saru to argue a lot more than he did one way or the other. He was very quiet in all of this back and forth. So yeah, that was weird for me. Tarka is using Booker and using Booker's pain, proving Rycians have always been manipulative shits.
well, that much is definitely known. Hello, Pleasure Planet.
He's not a prime universe Rycian.
Manipulating aggression with sex and relaxation, and here is Tarka using Booker's pain.
Oh, did you? What was the name of that Ryson idol that
Horgon.
found?
Orca.
Horgon. If you look at their icon in the voting, it's
Oh, no.
it's a stylized Horgon,
It is.
which I thought was hilarious.
It kind of always has been, even in TNG.
I didn't remember seeing an icon for them before, so this was the first time I saw it, and I just cracked up.
I think
thought it was
there
great.
was one shown briefly in DS9 somewhere, but it was like a quick little
Yeah.
flash, and the fan went and did a thing.
So I understand the switching to an ethical argument. The kill switch is extreme, but it's really no different than Data's off switch initially. Hold on. The problem is the inability to reboot Zora to pre-sentient parameters after the fact. That's the ethical argument there. When they kill switch Zora, she won't come back. That's the ethical argument. Not whether or not we should have the ability to turn her off, period.
Well, and they weren't looking for the ability to turn her off. What he wanted to do was extract her,
Well, yeah, sure.
which is different.
Which
She would have continued to exist,
Right.
but not controlling the ship.
Right. And that, yeah, I mean, that's where Gray's argument makes more sense. Because Gray's now in a synth body.
Yep.
And to have Zora, and then doing that, Zora wouldn't be as stressed all the time, having the stuff that she had the last episode with micromanaging everything on the ship.
Mm-hmm. See, I would have been okay with that too. I would have been okay if they would have gave her Seth body. You know, then she would have been basically another Data, but you know, still, it would have been okay.
I have a George theory that I'm not quite sure is a George theory.
Let's hear it.
So, the short track. What was the name of that short track?
Calypso.
Okay. So Calypso takes place in Tarka's universe. The universe Tarka wants to go to.
Oh, I
But still-
like that.
But it's still in the Calypso. It's Discovery, not Discovery A.
Yeah, but I have a feeling they're going to finesse
But
that somehow.
that's the thing. In Calypso, they jump into a future where the Federation is at war with everybody. Doesn't say anything about a burn, just that the Federation seems to be at war with everybody.
Not everybody, just the I forget the character's name, where he comes from.
Yeah, but the Federation doesn't typically like stay in ground wars and crap. You know?
We don't know all that much. All we know is that they like old cartoons and that the main character doesn't know what a Tuesday is.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I look at that and I go, it's possible that they did in this alternate universe. They jumped into the future, and were immediately appalled by Starfleet and had to hide from Starfleet. Then so they had to hide the ship because the ship was gaining sentience as well.
Well, and remember that they used the same term for the Federation that we heard in the season 3 opener, Dreish.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a feeling that it is a parallel universe rather than.
And if you remember, before the burn happened, the Federation was running low on resources and micromanaging everybody.
That's true.
And that's what was causing Memorial to start to leave, and then the burn happened.
Yeah, and just accelerated that.
Yep.
Earth still seceded.
Yep.
And, okay, I can kind of see this.
I like that theory. It makes sense to me.
I mean, you know, and I'm thinking maybe this is where season 5 might pick up.
Or
If it-
maybe the discovery that we see in Calypso is the original discovery, but from the parallel universe.
Oh, that's
And
what
so-
I'm saying.
And for some reason, Zora transfers to that, or that's another Zora.
Yeah, that's yeah.
It
That's what I
could be
mean.
another Zora. Yeah.
Almost everything in this other parallel universe happens up to the point of the burn, and the burn is the deciding factor between the two universes, which would be why they're so easily crossable, because the timeline separation isn't
Yeah.
that far.
Well, also keep in mind that parallel universes form infinitely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Parallels.
So there's another universe out there where Discovery successfully jumped into the future and saved the universe from from control, but end up in a future of significantly different circumstances.
There's another universe where Carlos missed his flight. There's another universe where Leah stabbed Greg. For
I'm
joking on
I'm
Greg.
stuck in Fresno.
There's another universe where Ross is bald. I mean, there's
No, Ross.
countless.
There's another universe where Carlos kidnaps Lane and Carlos is the Pokemon.
I like that universe.
So, I know this is something that's kind of been building. It's kind of been in the background, and nobody's really paid much attention to it. But this sudden kind of Booker Burnham drama, it feels weird. It feels like
I think it's supposed to.
It feels like it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a forced wedge for them to break up.
Well, I don't think that the actual
Not just separating in ideals, but I mean
Yeah.
like breaking up as a couple.
Well,
I
that's why he gave her grudge and took off with Tarka.
I don't know about break up. It's certainly something that is going to drive a wedge between them, absolutely. But
You made that much very clear in the summit.
yeah, it's something that they might be able to eventually overcome after all this is over. But this is all. He was on the way to recovery until he met Tarka again.
Mm-hmm.
Tarka is kind of he put the first chisel in that wedge that is growing between them, and her ideals and his resolve are further widening that.
Yeah.
And Tarka is stoking that resolve.
Yep.
Okay, so we finally have a ship, literally being a character itself.
Mhm.
We've always had a somewhat sentient computer and an anthropomorphization of the ship, but now we literally have the ship being itself a character.
It only took them how many episodes to finally do this?
Well, there were a few other shows doing the same thing at the same time. They didn't want to copy it.
How many entire like productions of Star Trek have we gone through before this happened? Like fully?
Another thing that George did first.
Booker. So the final thing is Booker pleads using his pain to call for blood. Burnham stands to speak and is the most Picard she's ever been. Period.
TNG?
She's not just preaching hope, but she is preaching courage. How that reaching for understanding is also a show of force as much as fighting. And let's just hope.
It's like how she stood up to the Admiral in season 1 when she wanted to destroy Kronos, and she stood up to her.
I agree. This one felt a lot more impactful.
And-
though.
Yes, it did. It did.
You know what? Even whenever Burnham started to tear up, it was not like, the usual stuff that happens whenever she gets all emotional. It was well timed.
I have one little qualm about all this. I hope she doesn't forget this speech by the next episode.
Reset
I have
button.
a problem with Burnham forgetting shit she just did.
Yeah, that is true.
Brenda makes an interesting point about Tarka.
I don't think Tarka has that kind of power. I think it's much more likely it has something to do with the DMA.
We'll see. He's going deep into the
And he
heart
was-
of it when they
and-
come back from hiatus.
Yeah, it will be interesting.
And it looks like they pissed something off in the process. So
Here's a little thing
question-
that I thought was interesting. Go ahead, Russ, and then I'll
The question
throw
is,
this in.
what is Discovery going to do about it? They have their mission to go and contact 10C. What are they
Mhm.
going to do about Booker and
Stop.
Parka racing to the center of the DMA?
Well,
I
you
don't
know,
think they want
Yeah,
that.
they go after them, and it's going to take them through some tricky places. Like you see Owokishan in a boxing ring, for example. It's
Yeah.
like a really quick cut, but
Wait,
she's
was
there,
Norton-
and they're
That's a
gambling.
callback. That's a callback to Voyager with Chakotay and the boxing
Yeah.
ring and the aliens.
you had the telepathic aliens.
And
So-
there is some kind of attack on Starfleet headquarters because I found the Tilly appearance. And can I share my screen?
Yes, you should be able to.
Okay, I think I see a share button.
Just don't share their porn. Okay.
That would get me banned.
Okay.
We get all of us banned. Carlos kills the show.
Justin, you're
I think-
framed, by the way.
I am. Oh boy. Camera off. Camera on.
Nope.
Hang on,
And
I've
still
got it.
frozen. Camera off. And it's switched over.
So the integration of Stamets' final plea to Zora and Burnham's plea to the Assembly was beautifully cinematic. But the back and forth made it difficult to really separate each person's plea without seeing the plea being one unified thing. And I think that might have been intentional,
yeah.
but I really wanted to see the separate pleas. I may have to have someone with editing prowess
What?
kind of cut the speech into bits and then splice them together with their respective speaker.
I will see what I can do.
I need
right.
to quit and reopen Chrome in order to share my screen because I had to give it extra permissions. So I will be
Okay.
right back.
Well, while
And I
Carlos
gotta
is doing
unplug my
that,
camera and plug it back in. Toot-toot.
Ross
Do you have any final thoughts, son?
Yes, I have two more. So
Okay.
Kovacs is weird in his determination.
Mm-hmm.
The point that he's evaluating the crew as well shows he has an almost data-like ability to process information.
He's got to be a synth too.
Gary
He's-
7.
Could he be a 7 years advanced Sung type hiding as a humanoid?
Possibly.
Just like hiding as a human.
I wouldn't put it past that. Yeah.
We've seen the holograms be advanced. We've even seen the synth technology that exists now. We've not seen the androids or the android planet or anything about them.
That
Or
we
he
know
could-
of.
Or he could be Kovacs, but then like Ian and Picard, he's in a synth body.
The final thing is this episode really feels like a test for a more traditional episode. Kind of like Missy in Doctor Who was a test for felt like a test for a female doctor almost.
And he's back.
But this
He's
is
back.
yeah, this feels more like them looking for a yay or nay for the classic formula and if cerebral still works. That's what this episode kind of feels like.
Maybe.
Okay, so I think you can see the my other screen, and
Oh, yeah. Hang on.
there is Tilly with Vance
Oh.
in the middle of an explosion.
There we go. Yeah.
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 There we go. I got my audio working. And let's see.
All right.
So
well,
I have you missed another theory, Carlos.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Kovacs' ability to not only evaluate Zora, but also oh boy. Wow. Okay.
all right. You had one final Notes on?
I was just going to convey the Kovac thing to Carlos and see what he thought.
Give him a minute. He'll probably be right back.
Well, let's wrap up our discussion on Discovery. I've got a list of... Oh, and we lost Justin, too.
What's going on?
I don't know. But I got a list of everyone who is in attendance at the summits. Well, most everyone.
Finally.
We see icons
Hold on, Ross,
from...
check your Twitch.
We had 3 different members of the Federation, or the Federation vote against. 2 members from the Ferengi Alliance, Kwejan,
Ross,
Kaptir.
Ross.
Yes.
You need to stop what you're doing and then look at Twitch and then go back to what you're doing.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Carlos is back.
Sorry, I don't.
Looks like
Carlos-
everybody's... Oh.
You're just kicking me
Oh.
off. I had to log in.
Did you do that, Ross? Is that
I
a you mistake?
see. It looks like Greg has activated sing mode, so I'll be sing-songing my way through this next bit. I hope you're satisfied. Greg.
I am.
Greg. So can I hear your new theory?
Okay, so Kovac's ability to not only determine Zora's sentience or not as an AI, but that he's also evaluating the crew as well, kind of shows this almost data-like ability to process information. And it makes me wonder, is he a Soong type android this far out? Because the Soong type androids were able to make themselves in Picard.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess no. I think that becomes a too easy explanation. I think if he's an actual I was gonna say actual person, but that's not a fair way to put it. But like a regular organic being, he's more interesting than he would be as he's a synth, so that solves everything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I just think dramatically it's more interesting if he's not.
Okay. Fair enough.
Ross was going over the list of the people at the summit, and he was singing.
Yes, I finally found
That's
the list.
That's actually what I was gonna point out. There's more than one vote from Kwejan.
There is only one vote from Kwejan.
I saw 2 votes for Kwejan.
That really isn't possible since there's only one Kwejan alive in the universe.
Right, but I swear I saw 2 Kwejan.
There are
voted.
multiple representatives from many organizations. I'll go through them as they are presented. Voting against, we have the Federation 3, Ferengi 2, Kwejan 1, Kaptir 2, Mazaran 1, Nivar 3, Trill, Schlern 2, Cardassia, Hornish, Ryza, Andoria, and Facian. Votes for action, we have the United Earth, Titan, the UFP, 5, Trill 2, Zindi Insectoid 2, Lurian 2, Orion, Andoria 2, Baroethian 2, Facian, Al-Sharin, Osulius, Ferengi Alliance, Hornish 2, Decon 2, and Cardassia. Interesting to note that our votes are counted separately from the UFP, even though they elected to return.
Well, so did the Andorian. Oh, right, but we don't know that the Andoria is.
The
And
Andorians
I have
are
returned.
possibly still part of the chain.
I have returned because something has went completely fuckery and I had to reset. Whoa!
The
I think Carlos
Mazarites
broke it.
appeared in Voyage Home in the Federation Council. The Schlern are from beyond. And
Oh my
the Ozunlians have been a part of Discovery since the beginning. We've got several new names, but also those belonging to the Zindi have also appeared on Discovery, so it's likely that the Zindi were serving on Discovery from the beginning.
Possibly.
All right. Any last thoughts before we move on?
You said that the Navarre voted against the move, the against diplomacy.
There were multiple votes from
Right.
Navarre.
Okay, so if there were 3 against votes for the movement and 2 for,
2 were for the movement, sure, that we saw. It was President Arena and the Romulan with her that voted for diplomacy.
yeah.
But there were also 3 votes from Navarre against.
How the hell does Navarre have 5 votes?
I have no idea how this thing was arranged.
Well, okay, wait a minute. It would make sense given that we know the political factioning that exists on Navarre.
Oh, yeah, because you have all.
Because you have the purists, as well, and the purists would probably have voted for
First contact.
no, attack action.
No. True.
Navarre is sort of strange with different organizations aboard doing different things and often defying our expectations.
Mhm.
The Vulcans being against things that we expected them to be for, and the more Romulan folks being on the opposite side. It's weird. I don't know how to predict.
Well, remember, Romulan culture also has different sections. You know, you have the Romulans, and you also have, what was the race that got introduced in the Nemesis?
All right, Ross, you're good.
Thank you. Let's put a pin in our discussion for Discovery tonight. We've covered a whole lot of ground. And it's
An hour and
midnight,
45
Now
minutes.
I'd like to hear about some of the other things we want to talk about. So, thank you guys so much for sharing your thoughts about Discovery. Up next, we are going to talk about the first episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. Now, unlike our other discussions, not all of us have seen it, so we're going to go into a non-spoiler discussion. So, Justin, if you'd like to take a lead on this one.
Alrighty, well, non-spoilery wise, I think everyone's going to enjoy it. It's a great callback. You kind of get to learn some of the history behind Boba Fett. You get to see some scenes from different different shows. You get to see a little bit from the Bad Batch when the city sinks. It covers his history, Krieg's history, up through the last, what was it, Return of the Jedi, and what happened after that. But it is also his own thing, too, which brings him to present day. He doesn't want to be seen as a dictator. He wants to be seen as a different type of leader. I mean, other than giving away too many spoilers, that's all I can really, say about it. Greg, I know you've seen it, too, so go.
It was a very good start to the Book of Boba Fett. A lot of people were saying it was very slow paced. The pacing's fine. I could argue the very first episode of Mandalorian was very slow paced, but it did very well. Tamura Morrison was born to play Boba Fett, and yes, he played Jango, amazing. I have no doubt he's going to do amazing as Boba Fett. He showed us what he can do in the Mandalorian. The way in which they show him in the Sarlacc pit, if you guys want to look it up, Patton Oswalt called this on his Parks and Recs character about 10 years ago. He called the opening scene, so it works. Non-spoiler review, like I said, it's very good. We get the history of Boba Fett, so people are like, oh, it's slow paced. We get the history of Boba Fett. We get how he got out of the Sarlacc pit, which, let's be honest, we're all wondering, like, how the hell did he get out of there? His armor is, of course, gone because we see him get it back because Cobb Vanth had it. Not Cobb Vanth. What was the Marshal's name? Tim Oliphant in Mandalorian?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. It's been too long. I had to watch Mando again.
The Marshal. How he had the armor. Ming-Na Wen, Mulan as Fennec Shand, amazing. She owns that role just as she did Mulan. She's very shoot first and don't ask questions later in this episode. So it's very good to see her kind of own that role as basically Boba's right-hand woman. And yeah, I mean, if you love the Legend of Boba Fett, you're going to love this episode. You're going to love the lore that they bring into it, and give it to the second episode. The second episode should be a lot better. The line from the trailer is in this episode where he goes, "I intend to rule with respect." He makes that very obvious in the episode. And Fennec is right there with him. So like Justin and I pointed out, his green pig bodyguards are wielding mechleths. So when you watch the episode, you will see these guys with mechleths. And he does take off his helmet a lot. So unlike Din Djarin, him and Bo-Katan, they pop off the helmet all the time.
Alrighty.
Ross, you can come back now.
Yeah, it's safe, Ross. Ross. I wonder if he just got kicked off too.
Well, Sunset should be right back. So, what? I guess the next thing, Carlos, you have not. Carlos, have you seen Hawkeye?
I have seen Hawkeye. I finished.
Oh, good.
Hawkeye.
Yes.
Sweet. Okay. So we'll go ahead and then let's go. Then Carlos, let's start with you. What did you think of Hawkeye as the whole?
I really liked it. I think Kate Bishop is a great character to add to the MCU, and you know she's like a female Spider-Man. You know, in that she really sees herself as sort of like a friendly neighborhood, you know, archer, I guess. And I am curious about. There's something about that dog, man. We better find out. If he's just a dog, it's going to be so disappointing.
It's probably one of those alien things.
Mm-hmm. And so I loved basically how we found out at the end. Like, I always thought throughout all of this series that his wife was like way more understanding of what he was doing and why he needed to do it than I would ever expect a sort of civilian wife to be. But then, of course, at the very end, we find out that she is a former agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
And then it all makes sense.
Because, you know, most civilian wives, you know, always are the nagging ones behind the camera.
Well,
but,
they're always nagging, but they don't understand, you know.
Right.
But
she's been understanding from the get-go.
Yeah, from the get-go. Like, she's, you know, get this done and come home. And that sounds just like something a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent would say. So that was really cool when we found out how that wristwatch was tied, you know, what the point of it was. And so I thought that was a nice touch. I love the return of the Kingpin. I loved him in Daredevil, and I'm not sure they're acknowledging it's the same. You know,
they haven't yet.
Yeah, they haven't yet. But the fact that they cast the same actor is a big deal. I mean, it's a testament to that actor, because that actor continues to be perfect as Kingpin.
yes.
And he's just how he's sort of preternaturally strong. Like, he throws Kate Bishop around like.
He's like, he owns the screen. I mean, he's just like that big towery thing that you would expect someone playing Kingpin to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's dead.
Oh no, he's not dead. I'm sure he's not dead. Because he wasn't there when they went in. So yeah, so he's not dead. Just down for the count.
Yep.
But that sets up, a really cool next thing. I hope they do bring back Daredevil. I love Daredevil. Was the best of those Marvel TV shows on Netflix.
It was. I wonder if we'll get a Kate Bishop show.
I think it's possible.
It's going to be a setup.
They are setting her up for Young Avengers, and I believe that's Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah.
That they've confirmed that Haley Steinfeld's supposed to be in that as Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, because I know that what part of the plot for Doctor Strange 2 is he's supposed to basically recreate the Avengers.
Yeah.
So that will probably be the new Avengers team going forth.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see that mid-credit scene that sets that up. I did see the trailer that they released. So it all looks very intriguing.
Yeah, that does. Let's see, where else we go from here. Have you seen The Matrix yet?
No,
I'm about halfway through The Matrix, or I don't think it's halfway, but I've watched probably about 40 minutes of it. And then my internet connection blanked out at the Fresno airport. So I'm stuck in the middle, but and it feels like they're still kind of in the beginning. I do love, from what I've seen so far, I do love how they go super meta, talking about, the Matrix, which in their world is a game, but it's they talk about it. They even name drop Warner Brothers in it, which I thought was hilarious. So I just
and
love
them
how
being forced to make another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ross, meet yourself.
Okay.
Well, we're talking Matrix.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I was waiting for you to talk Hawkeye, Justin, since we get to review with Carlos.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't think Ross has watched
Spoilers,
Hawkeye.
since I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen Hawkeye yet?
No, I've seen about half of Hawkeye.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't about Hawkeye. I wasn't sure where they were going, and I won't do any spoilers, Ross. I wasn't sure where they were going exactly. I think they tied it up really well.
Yes.
And teed it up really well for whatever it is that comes next. And they did a good job of making it a bigger thing than it seemed at the beginning. Like what happens with her mom, and and the other guy we were talking about before Ross came back. And
I know a certain individual does come back from a different show.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Then it's not a spoiler for you.
You're there. Okay. Good.
No, I'm not there. It just got spoiled for me.
Oh, okay. But not by me.
Not you guys.
Yeah, just internet.
Anyway, so yeah, I think they tied it up really nicely and teed it up really nicely for whatever it is that's going to come next for either Hawkeye. I love the way they pulled through the LARPers right there through the finale. I love the LARPers.
Okay,
the way
Ross, I don't want to spoil, but the LARPers make a triumphant return at the end of the series.
That's hilarious.
They do.
Oh, yeah. And it totally makes sense.
Well, she did say most of them are firefighters and cops, so
yes, that's true.
I guess that makes sense.
Anything else, Carlos? Non-spoiler?
I think that's it. I really liked it. I loved the credits for Hawkeye. I felt
that's
like,
pretty cool.
And how they had a different piece of music for the end credits for every episode that had something to do with what we just seen in the episode. So the credits were pretty much the same, but the different music they used really gave it kind of a kick. I love that about it.
And did you watch, and this isn't a spoiler, did you watch the end of the credits and get the entire Rogers the Musical?
Yes, I did.
Oh my
it's
God,
not the
how
entire
painful.
music. It's just one song, but it's all of the songs.
Yes.
And
it's still painful.
It was great, actually. And you can download it on Amazon Music.
Yes,
I listened to it a few times on Amazon Music. They got like legit Broadway people doing
the guy
appearing in that.
The guy in the first name.
That's the guy who was in the original cast of Rent.
Rent, yes.
Yeah, Adam. I'm blanking on his last name, but yeah, he's the from Rent, the original cast of Rent. So I thought that was kind of cool. I love the fact the whole "I could do this all day" thing was pretty cool. Rogers the Musical. I have a feeling that's not the last we're going to see of Rogers the Musical.
Probably not.
It was okay. Yeah, Ross, you could just go to the last episode of Hawkeye, fast forward all the way through to the credits, and just wait for the musical scene. Oh my God,
It's hilarious.
I could imagine them doing a sequel, Stark or Tony.
right?
Well, he did die, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're both. Well, one's technically dead. The other one is literally dead.
Right.
But yeah, that musical. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was over the top, but it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. It was a highlight of the show.
I loved Hawkeye. It's next to Loki. It's my favorite of the Marvel series so far.
Yes.
And Kate, I've been a fan of Haley Steinfeld since True Grit with Jeff Bridges.
She was. I remember that, and she was great. And for some reason, that feels like it was so long ago that she should be like 40 now. But I guess not.
It was 2010 when it came out. So
yeah.
in 11 years.
I feel old now.
Yeah.
I've loved her since True Grit. She did amazing in the show. I know I told Ross this before, but he will love the dynamic between Yelena and Kate was amazing.
Oh yeah, Yelena is just fantastic in this.
She does say
Yes.
this. Kate does say this. I'm sorry, but she does say, "Stop making me like you so much." And Yelena's like, "It's just who I am." So
yeah, those were some great moments.
Or you see them becoming good friends.
Florence Pugh, if I'm saying it correctly, God, she was born to play Yelena. Like that is her role, and I'm glad she's going to be coming back.
She reminds me a lot of I can't remember the actress's name, but she played Yo-Yo in Agents of Shield. She's got a similar kind of swagger and attitude.
Okay. I think I remember. It's been a while.
Have we been watching The Expanse?
I have. I've watched it.
Are we
I wish I
talking-
didn't all the way through, but I have.
We should be talking Spider-Man now. Non-spoiler.
We already did.
What?
Spider-Man?
We did?
You're admit. Well, yeah. Well, oh no, we didn't.
No,
No, we
non
didn't.
spoiler.
Non-spoiler. Well, okay, Spider-Man. Non-spoiler. So if you're seeing it tomorrow,
Yes. Taking a little.
Carlos is seeing it
I'm
tomorrow.
seeing it tomorrow also.
Well, okay. We'll sum it up as you're gonna fucking love it. There are plenty of callback feels, and I really want to go into more detail, but I want to do a more thorough talk about it, where we actually spoil the hell out of it, because I know you're all going to be gushing whenever you see it, because there's so many wonderful things that happen, especially with the trio, and you're going to see all the little hints and callbacks and love every little bit of it, and bring tissues. You're going to have a few tearjerkers.
Well,
Yeah.
what we know is that Peter goes to Doctor Strange to make everyone forget he's Spider-Man, neglecting to say that he wants certain people to still remember.
Yep.
That messes up the spell.
Mhm.
The multiverse kind of cracks open, letting in a bunch of Spider-Man villains. And while Doctor Strange is dealing with the larger ramifications of this, Peter and company have to try and fix the local problems. Is that about right?
It's about right. There's a few hiccups along the way.
It's not just
but yeah.
villains who come through the multiverse crack.
Yes, we got through leaks and teasers that both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield show up.
Yep. And in fact, those other two Spider-Men have been added officially to Marvel's website.
Oh,
They call one of them the Amazing Spider-Man and the other one the Spectacular Spider-Man or something
Yeah,
like
whatever.
that. But they get
We know
different
Garfield-
little
Yeah.
yeah.
we know
the movie-
we got Doc Ock, who seems to be antagonist at first, but then kind of works with them later, or at least isn't hostile.
Ross, stop reading stuff on the internet.
I'm going by what I saw in the trailers and whatever else I've gathered via osmosis.
No surprise here. Willem Dafoe fucking steals the show every scene he's in.
I definitely expect that. He was one of the best aspects of that first film. He was brilliantly cast.
Oh, yeah.
He was. And I have to say, I've always been a big fan of Michael Keaton as Vulture. I thought that was really well pulled off.
Additionally, very well cast.
Yeah, so non-spoiler, like I said, Justin's right. You're gonna want to bring tissues. There are two hardcore tearjerker moments. But overall, the movie brings the levity too. Like, you get through the hard part. Like, yes, they're going after because of Mysterio. So it's like, you killed Mysterio. It brings the levity. So Peter Parker, Holland does his traditional awkward teenager stuff. But yeah, Doc Ock steals it. Jamie Foxx, I was really impressed with as Electro. I was really impressed with him coming back for that role. So that was really good to see that.
I know the costume is different. How different is the character?
Not really, he's not blue.
Well,
Justin.
he's not Dr. Manhattan anymore. I get that.
Yeah.
No, you see why he doesn't. You see why he's not blue, and it makes sense. But the character's the same. The character's actually the same, and it's just like he's just sitting here. He's like, he just tells him, "Hey, you're in another universe," and he's like, "Oh, I like it here," and then just his evil villain thing.
I will be
So-
a god to them. God named Sparkles?
Well,
Um,
I'm looking forward to it. I really
definitely.
tried to get to it over the holidays, and just too many
Yes, Leia's
activities
correct.
going on.
I'm just hoping the little man stays still long enough so that I can enjoy the movie.
I will say this, Rob. So, okay, Leia's gonna hate me for calling her out like this. So I saw it before her because I thought we were gonna talk about it the week of Christmas. So I saw it before her, and Spider-Man's her absolute favorite superhero of all time. So I saw it before her, but then we went to go see it.
You have
Together.
good taste, Leah.
Went to go see it with her, and when she says bring an emotional sports uncle, she's not joking. My shoulder was wet from her crying.
Aww.
I'm not gonna. My face was drenched. I mean, I saw it the second time, and I still wasn't prepared for this.
I cried during Endgame.
Who didn't cry during Endgame? I mean, come on.
I mean, if you didn't cry before Endgame, you aren't human.
I did not cry during Endgame because I didn't see it.
That's right. You don't like any of this.
I was about to say you're also not human, but
Whoa!
That's true.
Oh, womp, womp,
literally not
womp,
human.
womp, womp.
And when Sun says she's a Zora, she means the creatures from Legend of Zelda, not the creature from Disco.
Yep. There you go.
There
that
it is.
works.
Was
He
that
gets
the
a
morning?
pass.
All right, so there we go, Ross. We're good with our spoiler-free reviews. Just issues.
All right. Let's wrap things up for tonight then with what are we watching? Carlos? how
I'll
about
start
you?
off. Thank you. The Expanse is rapidly closing in on its finale, series finale. There's only 2 more episodes left,
Mm-hmm.
which is not a lot, and there's so much that has to be resolved.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it.
Well, apparently, critics who've seen it basically say they pull it off. So we'll see. But I love the fact that it doesn't feel like they're cramming stuff in. There's a lot they're going to be leaving open, and I've heard rumors about a sequel series
Yes.
that will focus on different characters. And I feel like they're doing a lot of setup for that, especially in this last episode, with what's going on Laconia, one of the colony worlds on the other side of the ring. But another week of really outstanding performances. I don't know how they find such great actors. Like, why aren't these people getting hired by other productions? They just keep finding amazing actors, just more per square foot than you typically see in a television show. And standing out, Drummer is the actor who plays Drummer. She is fierce, and I love her accent, and she's fearless. I think she's great. The way all these characters, like, they don't get a lot of screen time really, but you know who they are. You know their foibles, their weaknesses. I love what we're seeing happening with Philip and Aros. I love, for the first time we've seen it in a while, we've actually seen Naomi and Jim like talking about one another as being part of a relationship and doing it honestly, which you almost never see on television. Everybody on television lies to their significant other all the time.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And while he does keep one very interesting secret from last episode to this, I mean, it comes out anyway, but he actually fesses up to it pretty quick, and it leads to a really great scene between them. Christian, the Secretary General of the UN, continues to be cool. I love what they're doing with what's her name, the reporter. They're finding really interesting ways to put her into the middle of the story and really advance it, which is pretty cool. They think of everything.
I wonder if they're centering up for that to be the new show.
Well, I mean, I think it's more likely to be something more ring-centered. So yeah, so unless they
Fair
move
enough.
into something to the rings, like what I've heard is that they basically are going to focus on the ring, not so much on the solar system anymore.
Makes sense.
All right. Thank you, Carlos.
One quick last thing. If you want to see a spaceship battle, like in space, a space battle that, like, I mean, it's like primitive technology compared to what we see on like Star Wars and Star Trek, but it is thrilling. Not this week's episode, but last week's episode.
Oh, yes.
I was on the edge of my seat for this, and so I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, you'll like what you see on this one.
Absolutely. The space dynamics are just so perfect. It's like awesome.
That's
Yeah,
the
they've always
common
been good.
Praise I hear about the Expanse
Yeah.
is that their combat is very well done.
Yeah, but this one was particularly thrilling.
Expanse gets credit for being the most scientifically accurate sci-fi show out there right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Right down to the pilot dying last season because of high G forces. I mean, they're doing
Well, they
the
always
research,
hinted about that. They always hinted about that as a possibility throughout the series.
which is why they got the injections and whatnot. They're just seeds.
Well, that's what the inertial dampener is for.
Yeah.
They don't have them really all that well.
I know.
But anyway, I love the dynamics between Mars and, like, Mars is suddenly irrelevant. It's the second strongest power in the solar system, but it's kind of irrelevant now because there are new colonies. It used to be the colony world, and now it's not. And you're seeing Martians leaving Mars to go to colonize the ring. So it's an interesting set of dynamics. I think they're exploring really well.
Good
Okay,
deal.
shut up now.
Thank you, Carlos. Son, what have you watched this week?
So I've kind of been off and on watching the Leia Remini documentary series, Scientology in the Aftermath.
Oh yeah, I've heard that's really good.
Mhm.
It's
Ooh, I've heard about that.
it's really, really heartbreaking and hard to watch at times.
Ooh.
But it reminds me so much of the exposés that started coming out about the Jehovah's Witness Church, about the just sheer amount of control that the churches wanted to exert over their congregation. And I mean, we've all had the open secret joking stuff about what the Church of Scientology can do to a person, or this, that, or the other. And now we have people from the church backing that stuff up. And it's fascinating. I'm not very far into it because it's something I have to take a break from after an episode because it's so tough. But it's been a fascinating watch. Let's see, what else have I been watching? Kent Rollins is a guy who was on one of the American cooking shows. I think it's American Iron Chef. I think it was, and he's known for being a cowboy kind of cook, the out on the range kind of cook, and he made his version of McDonald's French fries this week.
He's an incredibly wholesome YouTuber.
Absolutely. I did not know that McDonald's had switched their cooking grease from beef tallow mixture to pure vegetable oils.
Yeah, this happened 10 years ago.
I worked at McDonald's for 4 years. We did that back in 2007.
So, yeah, that sounds about right.
I mean, I didn't know that as much as I didn't know that Oreo had changed their cream recipe until rather recently.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of the restaurants now use the vegetable that oil compared to what they used to use because of
They offer vegetarian and vegan offerings.
Yeah,
And Theraflu completely changed their formula. Like it used to actually work, and
No,
No,
no.
no,
And like
doesn't.
even Cokes are different now.
I don't know. This Express Max Theraflu seems to work. It burns going down like it used to. So
Well, they
Oreos
even
is
stuff
mentioned
like-
because they retooled their entire production line to be kosher in order to
Yeah.
compete with a niche kosher cookie company.
Yep.
you mean the original?
Yes,
Cookie
the original Hydrox. You guys
Yeah.
remember Sexy Cookies?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Shh.
I remember this discussion, and then Ross going out and buying them, and then
Torturing
pissing
Travis
me off by eating it on screen.
and making Travis want to cringe in his seat.
I got to get my digs in where I can.
But yeah, no, he had one for McDonald's French fries, and he came to his own solution for the previous recipe, and that was he used like these. It almost looks like a yeast packet, but it is ground beef bouillon. It's powdered beef bouillon. So he uses that in like a brining mixture that he brines the potatoes in to pull extra starch out of, and then he uses it as a seasoning at the end. So yeah, that was an interesting watch this week.
He's done a lot of stuff like that, including remixing the Crunchwrap Supreme from Taco Bell. It's the first time he ever visited a Taco Bell. It was cute and cringe at the same time.
Yeah. It's definitely a kind of a dad moment.
Granddad moment.
Well, sure, yeah, that too. So for those of you who like dark music, horror styled music, there's an artist on YouTube called Lucas King. He actually recently had his YouTube channel kind of deleted because of that. Previously, you had that string of people who were sending the fake email that looked exactly like YouTube. Even had
Jim
YouTube
Brownie.
email.
I don't know if you follow him. He got caught by that.
I follow him. He was caught in that. Lucas King found himself caught up in that as well rather recently, and only just got his channel back and all of his music back. But this past week, he released a dark version of Dancing Queen.
Ooh.
From ABBA.
I'm gonna have to go look that up because I follow him too. But yeah, apparently this email, while we're on the subject, if you get this email, don't fall for it because these scammers go in through Google Chat and send a message through email, and for some reason these idiots at Google have not figured out to change the domain name because it comes from at Google and it makes it look like a legitimate email from Google.
And so the last one is, because of this, I was watching a string of ABBA videos and came across a video from 2011, believe it or not, of a Swedish guitarist / vocalist who had taken Swedish hits and made them metal. So he has this amazing video on ABBA, covering ABBA's Money, 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 right? Dude has an amazingly high vocal range, right? I mean, like, I'm sitting here fanning myself listening to this guy sing, holy shit, right? And then I find out he was picked up as a guitarist for Sabaton about
Cool.
Jesus.
3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I definitely recommend going out and checking that video. But yeah, no, that's basically what I've been doing this week is watching stuff and playing video games and trying to keep myself from getting sicker. So, hey.
Well, hopefully you get well soon, son.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, what have you been watching this week?
Oh man, watched a lot. So Witcher season 2 did that. Of course, Spider-Man again. Cobra Kai season 4 dropped. They keep improving this show.
Oh my god, I can't wait to watch that.
Well, the spoiler: Daniel's still an asshole.
I thoroughly enjoyed Cobra Kai season 4. The callbacks, there's not as much as of a tearjerker moments in this season, but they do hit you pretty hard. The season ending twist had me. I have to talk this part. I'm watching it. My son had just went to sleep for his nap. I'm finishing the last 10 minutes of the episode of the season. The season twist comes. I slowly get up. I walk into the bedroom where Leia's getting ready for work. I put my head in a pillow and I screamed.
And then he immediately messages me going, "Oh my fucking god," because he knew I had already seen it.
And me and Justin were talking about it. So yeah, season 4 blew me away. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, it was great. It was a real treat. Daniel is not an asshole, but he is very reactive in this season.
Mhm.
But yeah, Miguel is top notch. I can't pronounce the actor's name. I know I can see it's Zolo something. Samantha comes into her own as coming up. Hawk is great, of course. It's just great. The kids, Terry Silver coming back. Ooh man, you thought
Which that's not really a spoiler because it was in a preview.
you thought Terry Silver was crazy in Karate Kid Part 2 and 3. Um, he is.
Oh my god!
He's way more maniacal and thieving and conniving in this season. It's good. So, guys, I know Carlos is gonna watch it, but yeah, I can't recommend this season enough.
Yeah, it's good.
Fun fact: season 5 is done with production. No release date, but Johnny Lawrence, William Zabka posted to his Instagram that they have finished filming and ready to go.
I really like how
Alrighty.
they've made the turnaround pretty quick on
Yeah.
faster than we normally see on Netflix. So, yay them.
I forgot to mention something.
What's that?
So I was scrolling through Twitter for like New Year's stuff, New Year's celebration, and wasn't paying attention and thought I ran into a really, really aged Carlos in like a month.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, it was Yo-Yo Ma.
Yo-Yo Ma doing Auld Lang Syne,
No.
and just glancing at it as it scrolls by, it's like, when did Carlos get gray hair?
Oh, okay.
Scroll
See,
back
I
up
do
and
have
it's like, oh, this isn't Carlos. My bad.
you know who else Carlos looks like? Michael McMahon.
Who?
Is it Mike McMahon or is it Kurtzman?
No, I look like Mike Okuda. I've been mistaken for Mike Okuda and also for Guy Kawasaki.
Carlos, when are you going to tell us you were Yo-Yo Ma in your spare time?
Yeah, you bitch.
Oh, thank you, Greg. Justin, what were you watching this week?
Let's see, Cobra Kai, and like Greg, as soon as the scene came, I messaged him like, "Oh my fucking god, you cannot believe what just happened." You got to, they're like, "Are you there yet?" He's like, "Not yet. I'll message you when I am." And about a little bit later, Greg's like, "Oh my fucking god, can't believe what just happened." We're both, pretty much in the same boat. Let's see, other things I have been doing this week. I have been playing a game called Avorion, taking a break from Star Citizen for a little bit, waiting for the next update to come out off the PTU, which should be before, not too long. But yeah, anyways, this game's pretty great if you ever do the build strategy games, like Space Engineers or Minecraft or anything like that. This is another game along those lines. It does not kill your computer if you go big. So yeah, it's a pretty fun game. I don't think it's on console, but I know it's on multiple platforms across PC. So they do PC, Mac, and Linux.
All right. Thank you, Justin. As for me, this week I played through the campaign for Halo Infinite.
Oh,
It was a really fun campaign, very very different, kind of half open world, half corridor kind of shooter. I really enjoyed the open world part. It's one of my favorite genres, and getting around in this ruined and destroyed but reconstructing ring world was a lot of fun. Very difficult in some parts, easier than others. The boss fights were all pretty fun and engaging, and I really liked the story. At least some parts of it. I have a lot of complaints about how where 343 has taken Halo since Halo 5, and I understand wanting to pivot away from the absolute shit show that Halo 5 was. But it's a little jarring going from the end of 5 to the beginning of Infinite. But it seems like Infinite's going to be an ongoing thing going forward. They're going to continue to add story content to it, multiplayer stuff to it. It's just Infinite is the Halo going forward, and I'm interested to see how that works.
I've been playing it too, Ross, and I can see where I totally like it. Direction's definitely better, so we'll see where it goes.
I mean, specifically, I was a huge fan of the Infinity, the ship, the central ship around Halo 4, and not a lot, but a little of Halo 5. And they destroy it off screen in the first 2 minutes or 4 minutes of the game. You don't know what happened to the ship, the 6,000 people on board, except for the nearly 2,000 that you see dead in space. And you don't know anything about what happened to the captain, the crew, the rest of the Spartans on board. I need to know what happened to Captain Lasky. I need to know what happened to Commander Palmer. And I need to know what happened to Majestic and primarily just Majestic. I don't give a shit about Locke. I do care about Buck. I want to know what happened to Buck.
Just a real quick gaming thing. I found out if the leak is correct, which usually this guy I've been following for Gears of War is, Gears of War 6 will not be released until the next gen Xbox console because they're switching to Unreal Engine 5. They are not expecting a release until late 24, late 25. I'm like, damn it.
Well, that is sad. That is very sad.
Yeah. I'm just like,
what, the new Xbox can handle Unreal 5?
The Series X, I don't know, honestly, but since Gears of War, everybody's wanting for Gears of War 6, that there was a rumor it's going to be this year, and that got squashed when Coalition said they're switching to an Unreal Engine 5. So they're expecting 24, 25 now.
No, there's still plenty to milk out of Gears 5, I think.
Oh yeah, far and away, yeah. It's just
we'll
see what
I haven't been able to play it in a while, but I loved playing it. Also, I want to know what happened to the Spirit of Fire. The Banished were fighting them the last time we saw them, and now they're suddenly all over this ring.
You don't.
In addition to Halo 5 or Halo Infinite, there's a YouTuber I've been following called blanking on it all of a sudden. Voldemort's Guide to Warhammer. He is a
Warhammer.
He's got a baritone voice. He narrates lore videos, and he injects his own bit of original story to kind of set the stage for what the thing in the game that he's talking about. Well, he has taken 2 years worth of. Okay, thanks, Dia. He's taken about 2 years worth of original lore that he's created, and he is now focusing it all towards his own original story and campaign, and that is the invasion and war for the agricultural world of Abundance Tertius, and half a dozen enemies of humanity are now barreling down towards this planet for an apocalyptic conflict. He's collaborated with a bunch of other YouTubers to add their voices to it. I love his storytelling. I love how he narrates, and I'm so excited to find out where he goes with this. His storytelling is always very, very good, very fun and compelling. He has a really firm grasp of the tone of the 40K universe. So even if he adds a little comedic element to it, it still fits in very, very well. So I'm excited to see what he does. He's gotten 2 episodes out so far, and they've both been really fun. And I'm looking
firmly grasp it.
Grasp it.
That's a
Just grasp it hard.
All right. Well, that will about do it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. 2.5 hours. That's not bad for us. That's not bad for us at all.
Not at all.
A little practice, and we can focus that down a little more. Oh, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to share in all these stories, our thoughts, our takes, our discussions and arguments, and share it with all of you. Tell us what you think about some of the things we've talked about tonight in the comments of wherever you're watching. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, on each of our Twitch channels. And where else, Justin?
Let's see here on Anchor FM, which should be updated after the broadcast. And let me find the link because I can never remember this off the top of my head. Oh, got deleted. Okay. Well, I will post
that.
Yes, there you go. Anchor FM, the real Super Geeks. It takes some time for the RSS feed to update. I might have to go and rework some of it, but which I do every once in a while. But yeah, it should be on Spotify and hopefully soon other podcast locations, wherever they may be.
And since I did I'm out of sequence and out of.
Come on.
We'll see you guys next time. Until then, remember to live, to love, and to play every day. Sun.
And remember, sweeties, you are loved and appreciated by just your being you, unless you're Randy Pitchford.
Oh, God, son.
It's okay. Carlos, you look like
Play us out. Play us out, keyboard cat.
All right. At least that worked out. At least one thing that worked all night, that worked.
If you're so inclined, do stick around for our Florida Man segments where we cover the weirdest and wild news of Florida and beyond. I'll be calling it for tonight because it's a little late for me. But hope you guys stick around and enjoy yourselves. Until then, good night.
Good night, Ross. Same here, guys. I'm going to call it a night. Have a good night, everybody.
Nighty night, sweeties.
All right, Florida Man can.
So, I have a Florida Man story, but it's not a Florida Man story.
Is it a Jason Korvac story?
It is a Missouri woman story.
Oh.
Missouri police arrest woman who allegedly killed her boyfriend with a sword after taking meth on Christmas Eve. The suspect believed her boyfriend was inhabited by several entities in recent months and thought she was freeing him. That happens way too fucking often in Florida.
Sure does.
It does.
But the thing that makes this the most interesting is not the fact of the incident itself. It's her fucking mugshot. I'm gonna have to. Hold on. Let me open this in a. There we go.
You should be able to share it.
Yeah,
Once you do.
Yeah. I'm going to share screen. Okay. Window. There we go. Share. Okay. Is it showing up?
Yep. Just did. Hold on. 3, 2, 1.
This is her mugshot when arrested.
She looks awful chipper.
That's the best mugshot I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Except for that one
guy.
It's almost like she was trying
the
to
glamour guy.
license.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she showed me a competition for that glamour guy that had that glamour. The one guy that did that mugshot and turned around and made a career out of it. He's now like a model.
Wow. The guy who bedazzled his eyebrows. Holy crap.
And became a model. Yeah.
Yeah. That stuff's crazy. Okay, so there you go.
What you got, Carlos?
I'm sorry. I'm looking for the other Quajon vote on Discovery.
Ah.
Which I'm trying to find. I'm actually trying to find the. There was an article that I read today that had. It was an interview with one of the Discovery production designers who was explaining about all of the symbols that you saw in the vote, and and I can't find that article again.
Truck movie.
I've tried all of them.
What? Okay, well, I found a Florida man story.
You're getting rusty, Carlos.
Florida man arrested for calling 911 after his kitten was denied entry into a strip club.
How could it hurt?
Talk about trying to take the pussy with you, huh?
Oh. No, no. No. No, why?
Oh no.
Bad son.
No.
Bad son.
Next fucking article.
9.
Florida man calls 911 when McDonald's gets his order wrong and says he has cocaine in his butt.
Oh, jeez. Pretty much any Florida story but with a butt in it is going to be hilarious.
Oh my god.
Florida never ending with the surprises. How stupid those folk can be.
Well, like Carlos said some time ago, it's not that they're any more stupid than anywhere else in the country. It's just that their arrest books are so fucking open.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that pretty much it then? We'll call it there.
I've got a feel-good Florida woman story.
Oh,
Okay,
good.
go for it.
Florida
Yeah.
woman wins $1.2 million with a $50 bet on a slot machine at Seminole Hard Rock.
Well, then that calls for this sound effect.
And there you go.
I need to get the one with the slot machine constantly going on. But alrighty, well, I think with that last Florida man, we will call it an evening. And if Carlos ever finds those links, I'm sure he'll post them in the chat or on the Trello.
I will.
Oh, we have the other Twisted Tea scenario now as a Florida man story.
Oh God.
Florida woman arrested after hitting a man in the head with Mike's Hard Lemonade bottle.
No. Well, if it wasn't caught on video, it's not going to be. That was the thing. That Twisted Tea thing was just perfect in so many ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alrighty, well, thank y'all who stuck around for the few Florida Man segments. We will do this again next week. Until then, keep it in your pants.
Good night, everybody.
Alrighty. And